Think about the last time that you sat down to listen to an album and ask yourself, were you actually listening? The primary friction point in music today is no longer access, it's volume. Having access to 100 million plus songs leads to a paradox of choice, which ironically decreases satisfaction and heightens indecision. This is triggering what is now known as Netflix syndrome, which is just this exhausting tendency to spend more time endlessly scrolling or skipping tracks or browsing through grids of algorithmic recommendations rather than actually sitting down and engaging with the music itself. But that's where this little machine comes in. Mission's 778 CDT, this little component here, is in fact a highly intentional escape hatch from digital exhaustion. And over the next few minutes, we are going to look at its design, its internal engineering, and the practicalities of living with it, exploring why returning to the mighty CD might just be the ultimate gateway to deep, restorative musical immersion. 778 CDT features the exact compact half-width industrial design as 778X. A central tray mechanism sits atop a crisp OLED display with CD/USB tech support. Left and right of that are 3 flat rectangular buttons apiece for playback, control, and system navigation. And while it's all visually subtle and fairly refined, I do wonder if Mission's engineers couldn't have taken just a little more time to design the front display with those same large tactile control dials found on both the integrated amplifier and the digital streamer. I think if there were only one design element to begrudge the 778 CDT, it is probably this. But on a whole, it is complementary enough so as not to stick out like a sore thumb when it's partnered with the rest of the series. Now, this is a dedicated CD transport, not a CD player. And the distinction is pretty simple. There's no onboard DAC. As a transport, this component is engineered to purely lift the raw digital data off the disk and then send that signal downstream bit perfect. At the rear, you get both coaxial and optical SPID diff digital outputs, plus a rear USB-A port supporting USB HDD playback. Now, if you are this way inclined, the Mission supports FLAC, WAV, MP3, WMA, and APE files. Maybe it's about protecting your collection, or maybe it just removes the need to store and display those collections close by. But whatever the case, it is easy enough to use and navigate through a stored collection using the 778 CDT. But me personally, I kind of just prefer to play the real thing. Featuring a custom designed CD mechanism paired with an advanced servo control system, 778 CDT is optimized for stable disk rotation, ultra clean tracking, and heavy duty error correction. But the real engineering secret weapon here is its ultra low jitter temperature compensated crystal oscillator, or that TCXO, which dramatically minimizes digital timing errors before the signal ever hits your DAC. The entire internal architecture uses a streamlined design with separate low noise power supplies. And by isolating the transport, the laser, the decoder, and the clock circuits, 778 CDT can eliminate cross interference at the circuit level, which delivers an incredibly clean signal output. So with the finer points of CDT now out of the way, let's actually make a case for CDs, because modern streaming apps are really optimized for engagement metrics, not your listening experience. Cluttered homepages flood your brain with extraneous cognitive load. Smartphones are really multimodal distraction devices, not music players. And task switching between music and incoming notifications actually triggers a state of cognitive hyperarousal. So rather than resting, your brain is actively on edge, scanning for the next digital disruption. Ditching the phone for the compact disc introduces a thing called environmental priming, which is a physical ritual that signals to your prefrontal cortex that the decision phase is officially over. This allows your brain to shift from analytical evaluation modes to an immersive immersion mode, down-regulating the nervous system to prime genuine emotional engagement. It turns out that stepping back in time is actually a massive mental health upgrade, a recharge rather than continual cognitive brain drain. There are really two notable considerations for listeners considering 778 CDT. Those are system synergy and competition. Notable competitors include Shanling, SMSL, Hi-Fi Rose, Cyrus, and Project. Now, some are significantly cheaper, some are vastly more expensive, and some offer additional functionality like inbuilt CD ripping. Price, features, and build quality, they all vary wildly between these models, so it's important to do your research. However, system synergy is the leading benefit if you are considering or you already own Mission's 778X integrated amplifier. Acoustically, they're designed to pair with each other. Aesthetically, they complement one another. And functionally, the single remote for all 778 series components makes buying within the series a much more attractive proposition. In the end, this video isn't really trying to convince you to purchase the 778 CDT over a competitor. It's actually trying to sell you on the profound benefits of returning to something like the compact disc. The relentless distraction of emails and texts and notifications alone, this makes it nearly impossible to down-regulate and recharge through music. That fragmentation is reason enough to make a case for the triumphant return to physical collections, of which CDs are undeniably the easiest and most affordable vehicle. When you factor in the massive cognitive load of endless streaming menus and the way that algorithms hijack your brain's dopaminergic reward pathways, the modern digital interface actively pulls you out of the music rather than drawing you in, effectively blocking your ability to enter those deep, immersive listening states that actually calm the nervous system and trigger genuine emotional engagement. But this isn't an either-or choice, it's yes and. We all have streaming services, we all use them every day, and they're great, right? Loads of new tunes, and it's all really, really convenient. But by practicing more and more to turn off the phone and to pick out a CD, you're actively lowering your cognitive load. You're silencing the digital noise, and you're reclaiming the lost art of true, uninterrupted musical immersion. And I think that alone might just be the ultimate justification for this rather weird and silly and sometimes aggressive niche that we've all been sucking into, right? Because it turns out that going further down the audiophile rabbit hole, it might not be this silly, expensive pastime. It might actually be a genuine remedy for the digital burnout that we're all experiencing in our day-to-day lives. And as someone who's been in this industry for quite some time and loves it dearly, that's a pretty promising thought. Well, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned just a little bit more about this incredible new component from Mission. If there's anything more that you want to know about Mission's 778 CDT, simply head on over to AV Revolution or leave us a comment below. We will endeavor to get back to you as soon as possible. I'm Matt. It's been a blast. I will see you in the next one.